Alright, it's time for more fun with Clip Studio Paint. This time I'm going to be working on a project called 12 Panel Comics. This is a motivational project for those of us who are interested in telling stories in the visual medium such as comic books, comic strips, or storyboards. The objective here is to commit to completing 12 panels in 15 days. You can get more information about 12 Panel Comics at 12panelcomics.com, and the link is in the description. Now, I've got a lot of great ideas, if I do say so myself, for stories, but I wanted to make sure that I completed this exercise. So I did not use one of my story ideas close to my heart, because what would have happened was I would have fussed over it way too much and would very likely not have completed the assignment. So what you're about to see here is the first 3 panels of this idea that I have. Now, this is something I just pulled out of thin air, and the first thing I'm going to do is, but I do have a really solid idea of what I'm going to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is script it out. Now, this is a storyboard kind of idea. Would be for a movie. So here I am creating the script, and there's actually a long story behind where this idea came from, but I'm not going to go into that right now. The long and short of it is that I had this idea to demonstrate something by way of creating a bunch of scenes from an actual film, but using characters that are brand new in order to demonstrate the lack of storytelling in this particular film. I know that sounds kind of nutty, but the point was that, I was having these thoughts because I'm all into telling stories. I study storytelling. I'm not very good at telling stories myself, but I'm fascinated with the whole subject, and I want to get really good. Okay, so I'm gonna try and stay on track here. The point is that the point is that this script kind of exists. So I was able to set this whole thing up before I drew a single panel, because this isn't about the panels, this is about what actually happens. If you don't know what's going to happen, then you don't have a very strong idea for a story. Some people might swear by writing that way. Just kind of go by the seat of your pants, make it up as you go along. But eventually you're going to have to go back and edit anyway. And anyway, rambling on, but really there's not much to see here. Here's the breakdown of how the story plays out. And I will make some changes to this as I go, because this is just, you're always going to edit what you've done. Just like a drawing is never done, a story is never done. So here we got this, a big flying mountain. Yeah, I made changes already. Now, of course, this took me a long, long time. These are 3 panels. You're going to see 3 panels done in approximately 20 minutes. In reality, it probably took me 8-9 hours to do these 3 panels. So right now I'm sketching out a mountain, a floating mountain, a flying mountain, flying over the ocean with these bats coming out of the mountain here. And I have no experience illustrating mountains. I don't even have experience illustrating bats, even though they're one of my favorite creatures on this planet. But here I am, I'm not even using reference for this. I just kind of got into a groove, and I kind of impressed myself with this. This is absolutely not what I had in mind, but this is what I ended up doing. And, again, the objective here is to complete 12 panels in 15 days, not to fuss over one of them for 5 fucking days. Oh, pardon my language. So I'm just really, trying to stay the course, really. The old me would have just got aggravated an hour ago and not even bothered finishing this project. As I said, this project is to demonstrate a flaw in a story that is extremely popular. And I'm not I'm not going to go into the details, but I don't know if I'll follow through with this whole project as I envisioned it. But the idea was, that, I thought my mind just kind of wandered, and all of a sudden I realized, wow, hey, 12 panel comics is coming up soon. The start date for 12 panel comics is coming up soon, and I said, by golly, I will do this idea for 12 panel comics. Here I am really struggling with trying to figure out how to illustrate the ocean. And I found some reference online of ocean illustrations. And what I ended up trying to do kind of came out, half decent. So, and I'm always gonna be wrestling with myself, or I kind of, on the one hand, I beat myself up, and on the other hand, I praise myself. And that's kind of where I stand with my progress as an artist right now. I'm I you you can see the potential. I have potential to be a very, very proficient and highly accomplished artist. The only problem is having the potential and actually getting there. Two very different things, and it's a very long process. Here, I have completed panel number 1, just about complete, and I'm going to use the frame creation features in Clip Studio Paint to, again, creating panels with the Clip Studio Paint takes some practice. It takes some understanding. To do them, to use the tool arbitrarily is very simple. But then once you really want to do something specific, it becomes, oh, wait a minute. This is not, you don't just willy-nilly do this. Okay, so it's time for the second panel. The second panel is these robot bats. They are, flying away from the mountain and heading towards land. So that's what this is supposed to be an illustration of. And boy, did I need reference for this. Because, it's just another one of these things. Like, I've never drawn a rocky shore before. Also, I began to realize, well, wait a minute, what kind of shore? I started realizing there were holes in my idea for this story, or this adaptation of this story. I'm taking things and I'm changing them just for the sake of getting this project done. And then I realized, oh, wait a minute. But, boy, I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm just rambling, but I'm just an eccentric artist, and my mind is just going a mile a minute all the time. I always have 20,000 things on my mind. And I also have 20,000 abstractions. Yeah, that's a better way to put it. I have 20,000 abstractions going on at any one time. So here I am drawing a bat. Now, I didn't use any reference to draw this bat. And I kind of regret that, because it probably would have come out much better. Here I'm not, this is supposed to be a robot bat, so I'm trying to be creative here. But I'm also trying to keep my mind on drawing through the object. I'm keeping my mind on using actual geometric shapes to create the bat. And what you're looking at here is time lapse. This you probably just watched 45 minutes of drawing there in what, about 1 minute. So here I am making more changes, kind of modifying him, and just trying to create this. The last thing that I would say is that I'm happy with the way this is coming out, but again, this is the objective here, is to get this done, not to worry and sweat over it and get all upset that it's not coming out the way I want it to come out. So here I am coloring. Now, traditionally, storyboards are not colored, but one of the reasons I'm coloring this storyboard, it dawned on me that I was adding color because my illustrations don't translate without color. I certainly may not have bothered coloring if the ocean in panel 1 looked like an ocean, but there was no way that I knew how to illustrate an ocean with just, pencil or ink. I had to add color just in order to make it obvious that it was an ocean. So I had to stick with this idea of, coloring these panels, even though I am pretty darn sure that traditionally it's rare to see storyboards actually colorized. But as I said, my illustration skills are not up to the task. So just to give these illustrations some life and some recognizability, I needed to use color. Here I am, illustrating rocks. And again, 80% of the stuff, maybe 95% of the stuff you're seeing me draw on this channel, I have never drawn before in my life. This is why I say, oh, look at me. I have the, potential. I have the potential to be a great artist. I have natural talent. I believe that I do have natural talent. I just need to nurture that talent to the point where I have experience. Talent is only going to get you so far. You've gotta develop your chops. You've got to get strong. You've got to develop more than talent, but technique. What's the word I'm looking for? Methods, etc. You've got to get good at being an illustrator, not just have the potential. See, here I just giving you a little message. I know that this is a mess. I'm not happy with this at all. This is not what I want to see. And as I said in other videos, it's not that I'm complaining. I'm trying to say, I am not making these videos to say, look at me, look at my art, I'm so awesome. I'm doing these videos to document my progress as I struggle with the discipline that it takes to become an accomplished artist. And in a couple of years, then these videos will be about look at me. These videos will be about hire me. You know what I mean? Not to mention tutorials for folks. Right now, I'm not prepared to do tutorials. Anyway, it looks like I'm just about ready to go to the third panel. So that means this video is almost over. And I'm, making some adjustments to the story details. First, it was a skid hopper, sort of like and then I said, well, wait a minute, it would be much more interesting if this was sort of a crazy animal. So again, to reiterate, I'm not happy with this sketch, but I'm committed to it because, as I said, got to get it done. I don't like this person. I do like the fact that I seem to have created some sort of stylized guy here, sort of a doll man. But again, it's just that I do have some talent. And this creature here, I wanted him to be goofy looking and fish-like. And so I'm developing that. And back to the guy and the stylization and the kind of the style that I'm going for here. I know that I have talent, but that doesn't mean that I'm drawing what I want to draw. That's two different things, This isn't at all what I want to draw realistically, not rely on a cartoony style. So this drawing took me about 3 hours, I would say, something like that. And just getting the details down, trying to give him a little bit of realism, a little three-dimensionality. Again, this guy, I'll tell you something else. This idea of this, love-hate relationship with my own work. Let me tell you, a year ago, I could never have drawn this guy. The knowledge that I have gained about how to do a face is shocking to me. Because, like anything difficult, I didn't think I'd be able to do it. I struggle with it so much. The face is so complicated. But this drawing right here is proof that there's a level of understanding about what the face looks like, and it's really hard to believe that I did not understand how to even go about drawing a human skull, the human head, etc. Anyway, time to start coloring, and I really had trouble with this because I don't know what these colors should be, and I'm like, oh boy, what am I doing? I mean, I'm literally flying by the seat of my pants here. There is no experience. You know, I can't wait to start understanding how to work with color and how to choose colors, and it's really difficult for me to even explain what it is that I don't understand. But I'll tell you what, for a guy who has, you know, a little bit of an idea of what he's doing, I have no idea what I'm doing. I did not plan that. That just literally synced up perfectly by accident. So, what more is there to say? What more can one say? Well, what can one say, as the great Ted V. Michaels used to say? Well, what can one say? I don't know if there is anything more to say. I think I've babbled myself right out of words. I bet you $100 that by the time I get to panel 12, you'll see a major improvement in the illustrations. You know, it's just so funny because on the one hand, I'm like, oh, this isn't right, this isn't good. And on the other hand, it's like, look at that. That's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, if this is my big message, and this goes along with the kind of projects that I'm doing. I need to do motivational projects because I have a huge problem with motivation. I simply get bored, really quickly with anything. Just in life, I'm just like, I've got a scatterbrain. I've got ADD. Oh, ADD. Oh, ADD. I've got ADD. I've got it. It took discipline to get this drawing finished. Simple as that. Discipline. It's almost like, oh, why should you work so? What are you doing if you have to work so hard to do it? Well, it's just, I don't know. I'm not disciplined. But I am so happy that I finished this drawing. I love this drawing, even though I'm not happy with it. Is that a kind of? I know that's an oxymoron. And look how it looks with a look at what. Oh, art is so much fun. When I know what I'm doing, it's gonna be a blast. Here it is. It's done. There's nothing more to say. I hope you don't mind my yapping, my talking incessantly, instead of giving you some kind of information that you can use. If we're all lucky, maybe you did get a little bit of information. I hope you get motivation. Motivation. You've got to be motivated and you've got to be disciplined. You cannot become an accomplished artist without discipline. It's not going to happen just by, I got lucky and somebody came and knocked on the door and told me, you have to do this assignment. And once you do this assignment, you're going to learn all about being a good artist, and then everybody's going to live happily ever after. It's not going to work that way. You've got to create your future.